Hey guys, this is Chaos War Finals for February 2016. We're up against Kong 1 in the first round, and so this is sort of a pity of a matchup, since I don't think either of our servers should be seeing each other in the first round, but this has happened many a time before. I think, however, we're paired up. It's similar to the reasons why we get Cram 1 in the first round of preliminaries a lot. Just a bit of a pain. We see a lot of the same servers in the same order, but here we are, and we're up against Rono in the first fight, and he's clearly separated from the party that he's supposed to be in. He should be partied up with other strong players, and at the moment he's not. And yeah, so without Ray and Ariel and Nighthawk to support him, there's not much that he can do. He does have knighthood and everything. He'd be a hard hitter, and I think with the others he would have some decent support, but just as he is, it's a little bit rough. And again, Grimmith with these awesome shields from the defensive setup for the knights. Very nice combination for us, since Evil Arrow and myself are mostly, well, and Robin as well, are really just set up for big time DPS. He gets a little bit of help, but not quite the help that he needs. There we are. So then we get into the fight with probably the party that he's supposed to be with. So we have Ariel XP, Ray 7, and Nighthawk. I don't think any of these guys have knighthood yet. So at the moment, Kong 1 is probably not showing as strong as they could be. But oh, there we are. Grimmith gets Chaos, so they get the Absorption Shield. In prelims, I said that big group bubble was a damage decrease shield, which I was wrong about. The shield that Grimmith is casting now is the one that's the damage decrease, and it decreases damage for 65% for the whole team, and the other shield is an absorption shield for the whole team. So very, very OP setup, just incredible defense, and a huge, really the pillar that helps the rest of us just deal a lot of damage and not have to worry too much about healing, even though I do have Frigga on, so I can heal the whole team, which is good. We do need that once in a while. But really, those shields are just, they makes everything so much easier. Sort of hard justifying going into Sylph mode if we're not really strapped for heals. You know, we do have the oracles, so you know the shields protect the oracles, and they are able to heal quite a bit, so we don't get into too much trouble. Sometimes it's nice to just gather up rage and try and deal a bunch of damage in class mode, since my class skills are just so insanely OP. Particularly the big AoE deals 560% damage to all targets, so that can be quite nasty. Nighthawk definitely not holding up well against all the magical attack between the Frigga and my AoEs. And Evil Arrow and Grim actually dealing quite a bit of damage with Odin as well. That'll attack the lower of their two defenses, and there we are. Almost. Oh, Ray gets deflected. But Ray has so much MDef that I'm not the person probably dealing the most damage against her. And once that group's out, I mean, it's pretty smooth sailing with Kong 1 once you can take out those top players, or really any server if you take out the top players. But some have more depth than others, at least as they are right now. Kong 1 probably has, well, it's those 4 players plus maybe a couple others that are pretty sturdy, but for sure Rono and Ray are the big time BR. The rest of the server doing a pretty good job killing off the rest of their players though. I just muddle around trying to find the last couple of fights. 7 players to go. We have 30 out of 36, so the vast majority of our players showing up. It is tough, you know. Grim had the list this time around, and he did the best that He could. It's never fun to do the list perfectly, to be perfectly honest with you. But somebody has to do it, and he was a really good sport about it. Somebody asking if we won yet. Not quite there. Almost. Big AoE, that'll do it. And that finishes things up. 1,000 Chaos Stones for a win in finals. Only 500 in the prelims. Now we're up against Kong 7, which is really one of the last servers that I wanted to get at this round, or any round for that matter, until the very end. So Kong 7 has an assortment of very strong players. I've shown Lil Bish's Class Wars finals when he won, and Kenshin is very, very strong, as well as Asher and who's the other person that goes with? It's Asher, Lil Bish, Feelindale, and Sparkhawk, who have done very, very well in Titan War finals, are a really big team usually in Chaos War and very problematic. So I sort of knew what we were getting ourselves into and how deep this server goes. At the low end, the low BRs of the 40, I'm sure we're relatively even, maybe even a bit better than they are. But at the very, very high end, they have probably 8 to 10 players who are, I would say, very like high caliber tunes, and we're not quite that deep at the very, very top side of our BR, and so so they can have two very, very threatening teams, and so if our team doesn't take out one of them at least very quickly and then get into a fight with the other, it can be quite problematic. So they start ripping on our players pretty early. We have a lead at the moment, but that does not last from what I remember. I feel like I was avoiding Asher's group. I probably wanted to get Fear and Kenshin's group first, thinking that they'd be a bit easier since I knew that Kenshin didn't have knighthood and stuff yet. This person actually wasting a nice chunk of time for their group. Wasting a few hits. Yeah, trying to get Fear at first, but he's in a fight. So we end up in a fight with Asher, Lil Bish, and Sparkhawk. Looks like they're missing Feelindale, and when I talked to Asher afterward, he said that Feel was AFK or something like that. And Asher didn't really know what was going on either, because I guess he's just clicking buttons on his phone. He's playing from his phone at the moment. So, one, he plays pretty well for being on a phone, and two, yeah, that's just how it's gonna crumble. With only 3 of them, we're in much better shape. We still need to be careful. There's still potential always to get, you know, nasty crits. You know, with knighthood, there are all these passives and things going on that there's a very good chance that, you know, you suddenly get wiped out and you have no idea why, and it's because, yeah, somebody got a huge damage bonus from one of the passives or things. So, very, very scary, and you have to be very careful. Robin is the one that really is hurting at the moment, and I'm sure that I may have joked around with her and poked fun at her since she's the only one without knighthood at the moment, but she's getting very close, and I mean, that's really a joke, because rushing anybody into knighthood is not really worth it. It's just just jesting around. There we are, got the Frigga shield, not quite as fancy as Grimace shields from knighthood, but still very nice. Support there. Actually doing nicely. They have the rings, so that always slows things down, even though, well, they did get help eventually from a 4th from Jugs, but, oh, Evil Arrow did a nice number on Sparkhawk there. But this is bad news for us. One, because Robin died, so, you know, even though I think sometimes it randomly disbands the party, for sure, whenever we lose a player, like, you know, they die and, you know, they're sitting there for a while, that's, you know, a recipe for seeing the party disband, which is always really annoying and difficult to deal with sometimes. There we are. Evil Arrow finishing things up. Of course, now I'm on Arrow. He was fighting the first fight and then had to go. Here we're half health. We go into a fight. It's, of course, Fear and Kenshin, Flexter and Emilyn. And so that's bad news for us. We also both get Chaos, which is always problematic. But yeah, so our party dismissed, which is annoying. And so it's just the 2 tunes here versus these 4. Luckily, Arrow and I both pretty high power, and I have Heal and Guardian on both of them, so that helps quite a bit. Able to get into Sylph mode and do all the support I need to do. I mentioned this in prelims, but I find Arrow's Odin a little bit frustrating for group play just because it has no AoEs. Since it's very single target and only has 1 AoE Delphic, I told myself that I was going to bring Thor, but then he started out with Thor in the first round, and then I took over the tune, and then just didn't end up switching it over to... I mean, he started out with Odin in the first round, and then once I took over the tune, I didn't bother to switch it to Thor, so, alright. Again, forgetful. This guy's hitting pretty hard. To be expected from Kenshin and Fear. I appear to be losing my voice a little bit, so I don't know what's going on. I hope I'm not catching a cold. But between the last video and now, my voice is not doing great. Almost there. There we go. Tried to get into a party with Arrow, but as things are ticking down, we really just need to take somebody out. At the moment, it's 8-9. They have 1 more player than we do. Again, because they're so deep, when we were stuck in that fight with Asher and Lil Bish and all of them, it gave the rest of their players, particularly Kenshin and Fear and whatnot, to take out a lot of ours. So there's always some catch-up period with a server that's that strong. And so... If you can pause it. I caught the score at the end. It was 8-8 for sure. We were tied, and their server ended up taking the win, even though we were tied. It's not by server BR because our server BR is higher, so I'm not sure what the tiebreaker is, but yeah. So anyway, that's really frustrating. And when you lose second round, the best that you can do is then 5th place because of the single elimination setup. Here we had some login troubles between the second and third round. I refreshed on Elia and realized that there was something wrong with Kabam. So it wasn't on the R2 side for once. They're usually, of the publishers, Kabam is the one with the fewest login issues. So I was a little bit surprised by that. It looked like more just their site was down for a little bit, and so we were having some trouble getting back in. I told, everybody just stop refreshing because most people, because of the lag from Chaos War with so many people in it, they'll refresh between rounds. And so for a while I thought it was just going to be Evil Arrow because I hadn't refreshed his page yet, and Robin. But I managed to get back in a couple minutes before, and then Grimmeth had rebooted his computer, and so he just barely didn't get into, well, he's in to the battle, but he didn't get the party invite quite yet. I don't know how many times Arrow ends up wiping out the kids because he gets chaos, but it happens pretty often. And so yeah, so Grim is not in the party yet, but we do manage to get him in a little bit. I asked Robin to invite him, and for whatever reason, her invites weren't working, but I got it to work eventually. Yeah, here we go. Invite successful. And we got him. We're up against Wartune 120, so I think the top players from these guys... Well, once upon a time, the top players were these guys, Saiku, and 188-bet, and these guys were very, very strong, but I think these guys would be considered sort of like second-tier strength on the server by now. And the top players are like Vader and, okay, they're Amazon, and a couple of others that are not coming to me right now. But yeah, we'll see that top team eventually. But those shields, man, just the best thing. Huh. Lots of people left, still struggling to get a fight. I remember Robin, I think it was the prelims, joking around if only we could get those Centaurias to stack, because, you know, we have the kids mostly set to heals, and so, so a lot of them end up overlapping. I don't know if you guys can hear that rumbling noise or weird. I don't know if it's the pipes in my building. I hope that didn't show up on the mic. I don't know. Oh, I'm Chaos. I'm Amnesia. Oh, that's Arrow's tune. There we are. So able to clear out a good chunk of their server. We're heftily in the lead. And here we are up against their top team. So Ezekiel and Kuta are the other two top players. Robin almost clearing out their kids with just one AoE. I think that was just her. Speaking of Robin, I'm so mad at her right now because for like well over 24 hours I've had this dumb Rihanna song stuck in my head, and it was because she was the one that brought it up. And it's the new Rihanna or Rihanna or whatever she's calling herself. It's that new song Work, and where the only discernible lyric out of the entire thing is the word work, and the music video. I would just say, you know, if there were not clothing on all of the people there would be penetration. I'm totally convinced. So anyway, it's just dumb song, dumb video, everything about it ridiculous. But it's gonna be stuck in my head for like the next week. So anyway, shame on her. And shame on me, really. But anyway, okay, so cleared up those guys. This server doesn't look like they're holding up too well against Knighthood players. I was a little bit surprised. I thought was Jay Keith in Mage Finals for Warlords Hall? Am I lying to myself there? Maybe. It's really hard to tell. She could be very, very strong and just got wiped out by Knighthood skills, so that's not really like a fair assessment of how strong Jay Keith is. For some reason think that she's much higher BR than maybe that depicted. And these guys look like they've held up the test of time. A little surprised to see a 4-player group this strong toward the end. So we might actually end up going to timer with them. These guys complaining, Katrina complaining about the lag. Lag in Chaos War is exceptionally bad, so if you're struggling on the server just in general, Chaos War is not going to go over very well. Yeah, I think lag is mostly just computer power, which is ridiculous because, like, you shouldn't have to have a computer of, you know, my computer's quality to be able to play a browser game, but that's what happens. And so we get that victory, and final round up against Kabam 45. So really a pretty tough draw. Kabam 45, home of Sensei and Trinity. I did spot Sensei. I should have just ran into him. I should have just, you know, just going for it. He might have not even been partied there because it didn't seem like their whole server had filed in yet. But I don't know. We get into a fight with somebody else. Actually, this team's pretty. At least Bronx at one point was. Yeah, he's pretty still quite sturdy. Just Era, a magnet for those chaos runes. It's really terrible. Whenever I see a chaos rune on Era, I just assume that we're not going to have any heals from the kids for a while. I guess it just always goes terribly bad. Get some rings here. Definitely always made me really nervous. Like, I feel like that fight against you know, Asher and all of them from Kong 7, I feel like I was too timid about it. I should have gone after the top players sooner, but I had some like inhibitions about this team in general. I'm so used to just playing with whoever I play with, so so used to just running with Shockblin and Skoon. If I branch out at all, it's gonna be with Robin, Midori, and maybe Artie and Mikey. So when you get so used to the same players that you're comfortable with, and then you don't play with people that often, and I don't mean like doing multiplayer dungeons and stuff like that. I mean competitively playing with anybody. It can be a little bit I guess I just didn't go into things with a lot of confidence, and so that's sort of a pity. You know, we did get beaten up by Kabam 1 in prelims pretty badly, so I guess that didn't help things. I wasn't sure how well we would hold up, but this group actually holds up really well against top teams, and so I should have had a little bit more confidence. I think by this round I was feeling pretty good, even though I knew Sensei and Trinity would be quite strong. I didn't feel like as scared to fight them. But I just went in with a lot of uncertainty about how we would perform. You know, the team that we used to play with as the top group from our server would be Robin, myself, Midori, and Shock. And that team is of a completely different nature. We relied on the rings a lot, so ring revives. We had 3 mages, so lots of heals. So it's completely different in nature than this group, which is pretty much like, okay, Grimace's going to shield us, and then we're going to bomb the hell out of them. And so that's just totally different in nature. And so it's a different way of playing, and you sort of have to just get used to it. It doesn't mean that it's any worse of a strategy, it's just different, and yeah. So we're up against Sensei and Trinity and an Ice Princess. I don't know why there are just 3 of them. By this point in time in the battle, you know, they should have figured out who was invited to their party yet. So I don't know if they thought, you know, maybe they could get away with 3 people only in their top team. I think that's very, very strange, though. I mean, when it comes to your top players, you should support them as best you can, and so so they should definitely have 4 people in their group. You know. So I don't know what was going on there, but again, Grimm's shields in the beginning dealing with their big AoEs and stuff very nicely, so absorbed a lot of damage that Sensei and Trinity were dealing, and then we go into Sylph mode. I'm able to heal or just support or whatever, and clean things up pretty nicely there. And so with that group out, I mean, it's bad news for this server. I mean, those are Sensei and Trinity in particular, 2 of the highest BR players in our cross server, and for sure on their server as well. Ice Princess is a nice mage support for them, though, so that's not like a trivial amount of mage support for them. But for us, it's mostly just about clearing things out. But yeah, I was just really pleased with this group. I can't say enough good things about it, and yeah, just very surprising, and it's a good thing. I think, you know, I've played with the same group and throughout all the other Chaos Wars so much that I think it's nice to be able to show off some of the other top players from my server as well. We have another one, Hottie, and Darkmir's pretty up there as well. But Darkmir, I mean, potentially could have been in this group. Hottie is a little bit more difficult to get a hold of, so I mean, you have to be able to play with the people you can communicate with, and Hottie is a little bit more, I guess, hot and cold with whether or not he'll show up, so it's a little bit easier to work with these guys. Get One-Eyed Willie. So this is somebody who potentially could have, you know, been teamed up with Sensei and Trinity. I think he's pretty strong. Does at least have knighthood. Their whole server, though, all the knighthood players, the knighthooded players, all use the offensive setup, and probably would help if one of them were defense. So here we intentionally disband the party because, you know, things are winding down. There's no really big threats, so just can single things out. And you know, sometimes there are fights and there's like a couple people fighting, and we can't get in if we have a full 4-person party, but one or two of us can sneak in there. So that is very nice. I don't know why I was trying to get a fight on Arrow when the last 3 people on the server were in this fight, but anyway, I did. Grim should just go into Sylph mode and knock these guys out. He didn't need to shield us or anything like that. All his DPS is in that Odin, because really, when you're in that defensive setup, the only attacks that you have are the 2 really basic skills, and those don't deal much. Especially since none of us really have a lot of skill points to work with. So there we are. So we went 3-1 in Chaos War Finals, so that's pretty nice. Again, because we lost the second round, the highest we could place was 5th. I was getting confused because I thought, when I was reading Kabam won, getting 4th place, I was thinking Kong won, who we had played in the first round, and obviously they lost. So anyway, a little bit of confusion there, but regardless, I'm doing quite nicely. Pretty pleased about that. Kabam 30, a big congratulations to them, taking 1st place. So that's like Danahi and Sophia and some other really strong players. You know, we've had trouble with them in the past, and it just really showed that they were getting much stronger. So they have a very nasty top team, and I don't know about the rest of their server, but for sure at the top of their lineup, very strong. And so big congratulations to them. The ones that beat us somehow when we went 8-8, Kong 7 ended up losing to them in the finals, and Wartune 63 coming up in 3rd, and then Kabam 1, that's Phoebe, the ones we lost to in prelims, and then we're in 5th. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I actually had more fun in Chaos War than I thought it would be. I'm getting a little bit more used to things with knighthood. I still don't think it's ideal, but it is what it is. So thanks a bunch for watching, you guys. Take care, and have a very good day.